Right, what's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here with yet another video. 3 years on since we said goodbye to White Hart Lane. I see that flag in the background.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, what an emotional day that was. But that's not what... Well, I'm going to bring you a video about that a bit later on today. But what we were going to talk about today is Project Restart. So there's been a lot of talk around the whole of Europe, really, about whether the league should be cancelled or they should carry on. A couple of leagues, as in like Holland and France, have completely cancelled their leagues. Whereas Italy, where coronavirus is really bad, you know, they voted to continue their league, but it remains to be seen when that's actually going to happen. It looks like Spain could be up and running soon as well. Germany starts this weekend. But
getting ready for some football.
But you know, this weekend is actually Dortmund against Schalke, massive derby.
Big game. I'm going to be watching every Bundesliga game.
With no fans. How mad would that be?
I know it's a bit weird. I remember watching the game before the quarantine started between Dortmund and PSG with no fans. It's just weird. It is weird. It loses a bit. It's strange to watch. Yeah, it is a bit more like watching a training session. But I don't know. We'll see how it is when the Premier League comes back. There's all these talks, all these potential suggestions of what they could do to improve the atmosphere in the crowds. Obviously, there's going to be no crowd, but what they could do to subjugate that. But I don't know. We'll see what they come up with.
In terms of like Project Restart and the Premier League and the Football League, it's just, for me, it just seems impossible to get going. I don't know how they're going to do it, but you know, they're talking about stuff like no-look tackles. Like, surely that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
no-look tackles or no tackles at all. Like, what is this?
When you're getting into that sort of territory, I think you just got to look at yourself and think, what are you actually doing when you're thinking about getting football up and running? But there's always, I don't know how true it is, but there's all these rumours about players will be suggested to look away when they tackle or just after a tackle to avoid to avoid passing on the virus. Surely if all the players are going to be tested, and all the players are going to be tested twice a week or something, and they're going to be tested before they play, surely they should only be allowed to play if they tested negative. And if everyone has tested negative, what's the point of having all these restrictions on tackling or anything? Because then surely everyone's negative. So surely you can just go and hammer and tong and just full force into the game. And you don't have to be worrying about anything else. If there's any sort of doubt that players are going to be playing with the virus and then it could be transferred, I mean, it just shouldn't be happening, really. Let's be honest. There are players who play. You know, who was a former Spurs player who used to play with asthma. I can't remember who it was. Was it Gary Mabbutt, or was that diabetes he had?
Gary Mabbutt had diabetes. I think Paul Scholes had asthma.
Maybe Paul Scholes had asthma. Well, even diabetes, as we know, that could be a very bad symptom that could lead to you being very vulnerable to the coronavirus. And if any players have these conditions, I'll be very uncomfortable with them putting them at risk if playing these kind of games. And apparently they want to put neutral venues. So that's one of the proposals. Apparently that's going to be rejected, or that's not. A lot of clubs are not happy about that.
I think what they said, around 13, 14 clubs rejected that proposal.
Yeah, I don't see why it would help playing neutral venues. I don't see what the difference is.
Well, in terms of Tottenham, actually, how much more bad press can we get around this corona? Because if we were to use the Tottenham Stadium, that means the NHS would have to be kicked out of our stadium. Yeah,
I mean, apparently Tottenham wouldn't be one of the neutral venues, which I'm sure they're not happy about as well. But I don't know. I don't see the point, though, of what it solves, the neutral venues, getting everyone in a few places instead of, I don't know. You're making all 20 teams play away from home.
Yeah.
And I don't understand what it solves.
And then obviously you've got the factor of the teams in the first half of the season having fulfilled their home and away or home or away fixtures. And then it's just unfair to the teams remaining for the rest of the season, the home advantage and all that.
Yeah.
But you know, they came out and saying that they're looking to start around the 12th of June. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk in the press, and a lot of people have been saying Jose Mourinho was forefronting the delaying of that date. But obviously, he's come out today and said on the contrary that he actually wants football to be started as soon as possible. But obviously, it needs to just
when
be
it's safe. Yeah,
it just needs to
safe.
be completely safe. But that's 100% right, isn't it? Look, everyone wants football back, but no one wants to be putting people under risk.
Yeah, and you can see that I think Danny Rose have probably echoed a lot of players' frustrations with the situation with his Instagram live he did a couple of days ago, saying he doesn't really care about the nation's morale, what people are taking about. He cares about people's safety. People are dying, and it's unfair for footballers to be put under this kind of pressure and scrutiny when there's a global pandemic going on, and they're expected to be top of their game. And there's a lot of when football comes back, it's not just like happy-go-lucky, oh, football's back, everyone's happy again. It's like there's a lot of pressure on these players to kind of put in, it's going to affect what happens next season. It's going to affect how much money each club brings in, relegation, teams getting relegated to European football. There's a lot at stake when football comes back. So it's not as simple as just football comes back and everyone's happy and everyone's having a great time. It's not as simple as that. But yeah, in terms of the Jose Mourinho thing, he has vehemently denied all. He said he was misrepresented in the media yesterday in what they said, and he wants football to come back as soon as it's safe to play. And he said he's delighted with the players, how they've acted since the whole epidemic. And they've been very professional and they've kept up their fitness, and they've all been doing Zoom fitness sessions and whatnot during the whole quarantine. So he's very happy with that, and he just wants football back as soon as it's safe to play. And he was even quoted as saying, if you don't want to play, then stay home and watch Bundesliga. But that was a misquote. What he really said was, at the end of the press conference, he said, everyone have a good weekend and enjoy the Bundesliga this weekend. So that was a bit of a malicious misquote there.
The media love misquoting Jose like that, don't they?
Yeah, I know.
Looking a bad light.
We saw that at United. They always went for him, whatever he said. It's like Trump derangement syndrome. Jose, what's his name? Who's it, Matt? Terry.
Football Terrace?
Yeah, Football Terrace. He used to coin the phrase Jose derangement syndrome. Every time Jose would say something, everyone would just go mad.
It's true, though. It's true. But to me, this whole thing just stinks of a money run thing. You know what I mean? Because these guys have just got, the leaders of the Premier League and the people running football, they've just got their head filled with money, and they've got to put people's safety first. And they're just not doing that. Well, at the moment, football's not going on, so they are doing that. But even just talking about it, just cancel the season, make it null and void, or just whatever you want to do. But I just can't see a way that they're going to play football from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, especially in the UK, where we haven't got a good handle on this virus at all. I know you could argue the same with Serie A in Italy, but we're talking about the Premier League at the moment. And I think that if you look at Germany, I know they've had a similar amount of cases, but they've been able to manage that pretty well. They haven't had anywhere near as many deaths as we have. And we clearly, I don't know what we're doing wrong in this country, but we're doing something wrong, because the death toll is a lot higher than it is over in Germany. And we clearly have to be more careful. We have to be able to, manage this. We're not managing the situation very well. We are seeing a sustained fall in deaths, but per day, but it's not exactly massive. It's gone from like 800 to like 600. So it's still not.
But I think it's evident that we've passed the peak. But if we were to open up everything again, then we could reach that peak again.
Yeah, we're not opening up everything again, but we're slowly starting to lift the lockdown. That's for sure. We can clearly see that.
I think that's right.
I don't know. I think the way they're going about it is just not very clear. Nothing's. They're being very
vague. It's just vague, isn't it?
Yeah, everything's vague in what the government is saying, and it's
how you supposed to follow guidelines if they're just vague?
And the guidelines they're giving are just stupid. Like the guidelines used to be work from home unless it's essential, and now it's go to work unless you can work from home. It's like what's the difference? I don't understand.
Yeah, literally.
So it's very peculiar. I think other countries have dealt with it a bit better than us, and we're getting worse.
Yeah,
and we're getting worse as time goes on. And I don't know if this country's ready, for professional sport to get up and running again. especially a sport like football where it's very close contact. You could probably play cricket at the moment. Everyone's pretty much 2 meters away from each other in that sport all the time. But football's a different animal. It's a contact sport. It's high intensity. There's a lot of high stakes as well. And to put all that pressure on the players when it probably not right to, they're going to have safety concerns. They're going to have, for their mental health as well, it's not going to be great. They're going to be under more scrutiny. So I don't know if it's right. But then again, maybe in a month's time, we could be in a different position. So
look, but that remains to be seen. You cross that bridge when you come to it. But as it stands at the moment, to bring football back, to not know what we're going to be like in a month's time is ridiculous. And also,
I think it shouldn't be talking about it just yet.
And also, it's probably, obviously it's not this, but it just feels to me that they just want Liverpool to win this league, and then after Liverpool win the league, they'll just cancel it all again. But you're telling me football without fans, it's not great and it's not going to work. But if Liverpool do win the league and in front of no fans, don't tell me all those Liverpool fans are not going to be crowding outside Anfield or wherever it is if they are going to win the league. How many years have they not won the league? And they're not going to go out and celebrate all day and all night? Of course they are.
Yeah, probably. Of course they are.
Scousers. So that's another thing you need to worry about when you've got this in when you're talking about this, because I think they're going to literally flood outside the stadium if this was to happen. And we're going to see how it all works this weekend, because you go massive derby in Bundesliga, Dortmund against Schalke. We'll see how the fans react, see if they go outside the stadium, because I don't know if you remember when this whole thing first came about in that PSG game, how many PSG fans went outside that stadium?
I remember. I remember the club even said specifically they're not going to have a big screening outside the game just to avoid that happening, but fans still showed up and made a whole thing with flares and everything outside the ground. I guess that's something to consider. The police would have to stop that from happening. I guess if that was the case, they have a bit of police there just to disperse any fans that were to come outside the stadium. I just don't know what the right thing to do is at the moment. It is purely money based. It's got nothing to do with the safety and anything else. It's clear for everyone to see. I think if they were concerned about the safety of the players and the team, they'll just wait till next season and cancel the season. I think that's probably the right thing to do at this moment in time. I mean, everyone's worried about, who's going to be in Europe and whatnot. Is there even going to be European football next season? Are teams going to be allowed to travel to other European countries and play? Who knows? So I think the right thing to do would from what I can see at the moment, would just be to not try and force football back before the summer, and maybe I think June 12th might be a bit too early for us.
But they're talking about delaying it already, so I think June the 12th already been.
But how much more can you delay it? How much more can you delay it? Not much. But it's good that Jose's raring to go. He wants it back. I think he's confident that his players are back, that are back from injury. So he would want to give it another a different crack and show what we're capable of. Because we were going through a bit of a rut before the quarantine with a lot of injuries and a lot of results.
First time under Jose, we got a full squad, fully fit.
Yeah, So he's probably raring to go to show that. But I don't think. I think June 12th. To have football back is just I don't see the point. Yeah, and it's going to be difficult. So what a whole team comes down with a coronavirus?
It came out last week that 3 Brighton players have it already. I don't know. It's too hard to call.
Well, and then you got people like, say, Roy Hodgson. He's an old person. He might be vulnerable to it if he actually like players, you'd have to assume most players are going to be fine if they catch it. But if a lot of older managers get it, then they could actually be in serious trouble. So what would happen if one of the managers got it and then was seriously ill? That would be serious. Like really, the Premier League might even have blood on their hands if that was the case. You would have to argue.
It's true.
So I don't know if right now is the right time to bring it back and. It's worrying, really worrying that's the talk at the moment.
Well, let me know in the comment section below what are your feelings towards Project Restart. Should we be looking forward and open to welcoming football back, or should we just just throw this season out. What do you think in the comments below? One more thing I just want to touch on is obviously about Dele Alli. Yesterday, he got broken into, held at knife point. Apparently, he was attacked as well, and he's got some marks on his face. What's worse, getting burgled at this time, or some stranger coming into your house and making physical contact with you?
Yeah, I mean, he had both, and it's scary that, you know, it's not the first time Dele's been burgled, is it? Or it's not the first time he's been.
Well, he got robbed actually a month or two ago, didn't he?
I remember, it wasn't so long ago. I'm pretty sure he got robbed at knife point. I think they had always. I'm not sure if it was a knife point, but I'm pretty sure he got robbed. And I'm a bit worried for him. Thankfully, he's okay, and he wasn't too seriously injured. And I don't know if they managed to get the burglars or anything, but you know, what's most important is him and his brother, who believe he lives with his brother. They're both fine, and they're a bit shaken up. I think so. I think that's what the newspaper article said. But they're okay. Hopefully, they catch the bastards, and they get held responsible for what they've done. It's actually disgusting that you know that he's been having to deal with that, especially this time as well. These people clearly, they're lower than low. They're the lowest of the low, these people who do these kind of things. And we're all with Dele Alli. We're standing by him. Hopefully he'll get through this. It won't have too much of a mental toll on him. And, you know, wishing him all the best, obviously.
Definitely. I'm sure everyone watching this can echo those thoughts. But there you have it. That's the kind of discussion we brought to you today about Project Restart and touching on Dele Alli just at the end. Let me know your thoughts on everything we've discussed today. Like, subscribe, and comment below. And as always, come on, you Spurs.